Hey guys, welcome to Sketch a Day. I'm Spencer, where every day I do something drawing or visual communication related. I'm still trying to figure things out, but I'm just having fun. And hopefully you guys are having fun with me. This week I'm doing things featured from the new Star Wars movie, or Star Wars in general. And one of the coolest things I remember growing up was seeing the Stormtroopers for the first time. And I thought, whoa, those guys look really cool. They look really sick. Maybe not in those words as a little kid, but always fascinated by the concept design of those guys. In the new movie, there's a new version of the trooper. I don't even know if it's called a stormtrooper, but they have even cooler helmets. And so today I'd like to sketch one of those helmets and just go through the process of understanding the form and how I would sketch and render that. I'll be using markers, pens, and pencil today. So if you want, feel free to use the links below to get supplies, or just go grab your supplies if you have them already. And let's sketch something. So to kick things off, I'm going to use a technique that I use to sketch when I'm not really sure of the shape or form of something. If you've watched my other videos, you may have seen me do something like a computer mouse where I've sketched out planes and built out the form. But in this case, I'm going to just be a little bit more gestural. So I've got my pencil and I'm holding it at a very low angle in relation to the paper. Okay. And you'll notice that I'm holding it kind of halfway up. And this way I'm able to do a little bit more gestural of a sketch. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm starting with kind of this oval shape. But this isn't just any oval shape. It's actually kind of a squished sphere. And that's kind of how I'm thinking of this. Next, I've got almost this strong flared section in the middle that comes out. So just these two lines, I'm going to use these to kind of guide me. At the bottom of this helmet, it looks like we have kind of a piece that comes up, down, and then around into the main form. Okay, so I'm going to use these lines to kind of guide my drawing as I do this. And we may end up doing an overlay here, we may not, but I'm just going to kind of keep this loose as we go. On the side, I've got these like, what would you call them, tubes or cylindrical forms, okay, right through here. And these kind of have a cross section like this. So if I were to draw a cross section of that, it would be kind of elliptical, right? And on the face, it looks like right about here, where I had my initial oval shape, that's kind of where this main piece for the mouth kind of interfaces. And I can start to sketch the eyes, or the portion where the goggles, I don't know what you call those, the eye protectors go. And these new Stormtrooper helmets, they're really cool. It's almost like the visor for the face kind of blends into this like mouthpiece. It's really, really cool. So I can come down here like so, and then kind of capture that as I go around, okay, and down like this. Alright, this is my first ever Stormtrooper helmet. But if you're like me and you haven't done one of these before, it's okay. Because what we can do is we can do a quick overlay of our sketch when we're done and ready to do the final drawing. So keeping this nice and loose, I'm going to just give myself some darker lines so that when I do my overlay, I'm able to see some of these details and pull them into my sketch here when I'm done. So that looks like I need a little bit of surface showing here, meaning if I were to draw a cross section on this, it comes down like so, and then goes flat and then down. And on this surface I've got these little vent holes, like so. Alright, I'm kind of digging this. I think with an overlay I'll be there. A little bit of shadowing, again, if this cross section were to come through the helmet, it would be something like that. Okay, so just thinking in terms of cross sections can really help you if you're just figuring out the design of something, even something that you're looking at and you're trying to draw. I am using a Stormtrooper helmet for reference. I guess I'm using a lot of reference this week, but that's okay because frankly I've never drawn any of these things before. So I've got to know kind of what they look like. Alright, and it looks like we've got a little port on the front of our helmet, like so. Alright, so if you've got something like tracing paper or marker paper, you can actually take these sheets of paper and layer them on top of each other, like I've done here. And just by smoothing this out, I'm exposing the design on the bottom. So that now, when I sketch, if I want to change the shape of a line or the angle of something, I can do that pretty easily. And I'm not tracing, I am redrawing this as I go. And by that I mean just lightly and effortlessly sketching these lines in. You don't want them to feel too labored, too heavy. Okay, so as I do this, I'm just being very careful to preserve the life in those lines that I initially sketched. And the best way to do that is to just re-sketch, not trace. And because I did all that hard work underneath, I can now just focus on the quality of the drawing and less on figuring things out as I go. Alright, so I'm just going to speed up this little part here, but hopefully you get the gist that I am just quickly bringing in the details from my underdrawing. Okay, so with that part done, I'm now going to show you how I'd shade something that is white with a little bit of black in there. So first thing is I need to kind of map out where my highlights are going to be. So those really, really shiny spots. So for example, if there's a light off to the side on this helmet, I'm just mapping out where I would get some intense highlights. So much of this is black that I can actually come in with this nice wide Copic marker and start to fill in some of these details, or these areas rather. And this is really the distinctive part of this helmet design. So we've got this really strong black visual element that just wraps in kind of this menacing way throughout the whole thing. Very, very, very cool. And because I'm using this nice wide Copic marker, it's really easy to just fill in these areas. If you're interested in one of these, I'll post a link below and you can check that out and try these out for yourself. They're really fun and they make pretty quick work of large areas. I probably should have used a smaller marker for some of this though, but we'll make this work. Okay, so on the side here, maybe there's some reflected light. So as I move to this right side, I'm going to be blending or kind of feathering things out. Alright, so almost done with the mouth of our trooper. And this eyepiece. So for the feathering on this side, I'm actually going to use a white pencil to get some shading in over this black, and that's going to help this form read better. So let's get our other black details in. We've got these little vents on the sides. And we'll kind of mirror that on this side here. I'm not counting how many vents there are. I probably should. But again, one of my weaknesses rather is a general lack of patience. So maybe that's something I should work on. Since the New Year is coming up, I could do that as one of my New Year's resolutions. Attention to detail. Okay, and this black band looks like it wraps around the entire back of the helmet. So just making that wrap around the side there. And we've also got another little black thing right up here. So I want to capture that in the front. Okay, so since, like I said, this is a white form, I'm going to focus on shading in shadowed areas. And you'll notice that my pencil, kind of like I started out here, is very low in relation to the paper, meaning normally I draw like this, my pencil is pretty flat and I'm holding it fairly high up the barrel. And so what I'm focusing on here is just capturing shadow cores. Because the majority of the helmet is white, I can actually use the paper to my advantage in rendering this. So really I just need to show where I've got a strong shadow core, or core shadow. Remember, my light's coming from this side, and this cross section is cylindrical in shape. So just varying my shading and coming out, really lightly on this. You can see I'm starting to pull this form out. Now on the opposite side of where my reflection is going to be, or just on the outside rather, I'm going to add a little bit of pencil work, like so. Okay, and that's going to help this feel three-dimensional. In fact, I can now tip the angle of the pencil slightly up just to crispen up that area. On the rest of this helmet, I just need to be very, very, very careful and lightly shade in with some pencil to kind of give this shape some form. Okay. Now toward the back side, I can actually punch the shadow core just a bit more. And again, this is all with pencil, and this shadow core is going to follow the overall shape of the form. But I'm being careful not to shade in this area, for example, where I have a surface transition. Okay, and I just want to lightly feather this out. Okay, ever so lightly, so now I have a nice feather going from right to left, or left to right. So for those core shadows, those shadow cores, just make sure that you back off the edge of your shape just a little bit. And now by applying a little bit of pressure to these Prismacolor pencils, you could use, I think, any colored pencil. I'm just using a black pencil. If you want to use a lead pencil, you're welcome to as well. This one just happens not to smudge as much, I think. And I'm always trying to draw away from those areas where I've applied a lot of shading. And that way I don't contaminate the rest of my drawing. Okay, if you're ever in doubt, you can always squint and look at your drawing to see if you have enough contrast or shading in the right areas. So after squinting, I'm just making a couple little tweaks here. But again, this is white, so you'd think that with white, it's, you know, hard to shade. The key is just to have a somewhat gentle touch with the way that you do shade so that you're not overdoing things as you draw. And in this little area here, I've got some shadow that I need to add, like so. Again, really low angle on the pencil. And you can see how that all comes together. And if you want, you can add shadow to the ground. I think this helmet looks like it looks something like this. We'll just use our pencil and shade that in. But you could use a marker if you wanted to as well. Now, like I mentioned, to kind of pull the atmospheric light from this side, I'm going to use a pencil to get a white pencil rather, to get some of that shading in. So I've got this white pencil, and for some of the, looks like I forgot a little highlight over here even. We'll get that in. For some of the kind of ambient reflected light, just using a little white pencil on the side is going to help this not feel so flat. And even where, say on the bottom of this visor, we may be picking up a little reflection. Okay, we can show that with some pencil work like so. It's just nice and feathered in. Okay, just like that. As always, it's hard to know when to stop. And there's always something that you'd want to change on your drawing, you know. I can see things that I'd want to kind of tweak or mess with here and there, but we're just having fun, like I said. This is my first Stormtrooper helmet, believe it or not. But I'm having fun. I had fun with this, and that's the most important thing, and hopefully you guys are having fun as well. Thanks so much for watching this video of me doing a Stormtrooper helmet. I am pumped for the new Star Wars movie, as I hope you are. And I'm pumped that so many of you are interested in what I'm doing. If you are new here and you want to find out more of what I'm doing, you can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/sketchaday. And be sure when you hit that button that says liked, that you go down to notifications and select the options, because I do post a few things during the week and during the day that you may miss, because Facebook does this weird thing where it turns those all off by default. And I try to be sensitive to that, so you won't be spammed or get tons of junk or anything. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, you can find me at sketchaday.com. And if you haven't yet, be sure to enter this week's giveaway, which is a full set of Copic markers, gray. And all you have to do is look for the post that has the marker image on my feed, and tag a friend and leave a comment in that post, and you'll be entered to win a set of markers. I'll be giving those away on Friday, so pay attention, look out for those. If you're on YouTube and watching, be sure to subscribe because that way you'll get an email or notification when I post here. Thank you so much for your support. I'm really excited and pumped that so many of you have been interested in what we're doing, and I look forward to continuing doing this. Thanks again for watching. This has been really fun. I am blown away by the support, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Sketch-A-Day.